Today in the crypto space, we're still in the red, guys. Bitcoin getting a small bounce though on lower time frames. Ethereum still hovering around that $2,000 mark, guys. Very important price for Ethereum to hold. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much in the red. We have a few dips: Matic, Atom, ICP, Kaspa, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project, the largest altcoin out there, Ethereum. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of this market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Better yet, hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is a great community. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin by looking at the general market. Then we'll jump on the Bitcoin chart to see what's going on with Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin, if it starts to continue looking more bearish, we could see a further continuation to the downside. However, guys, today's video is all about Ethereum. I do neglect quite a bit, Ethereum quite a bit. Ultimately, Ethereum is the heavyweight. Ethereum is a good leading indicator for the altcoins, an altcoin season, perhaps. And that's something that I'm anticipating eventually. However, guys, Ethereum getting a rejection where it's at right now is not looking the best. However, maybe we might be able to climb right out of this scenario and continue to the upside. So we'll look at the probability, we'll look at the price action and come up with a thesis. But before we do that, let's take a look at this general market. We see Bitcoin still within range, guys. It's still within structure, and so is kind of Ethereum. We got to understand right now, as long as Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin, stays within its structure, we could expect that the altcoins are going to continue to do well. Now, I know we've been seeing a bit of negativity in the last 24 hours. However, guys, let's be real with what's happening. Bitcoin came down. What do you expect altcoins to do? They are also going to come down. And what do you expect from the lower cap altcoins? They're going to come down harder. Now the magic happens. Let's see what happens when Bitcoin gets its bounce. Are altcoins going to bounce even harder than Bitcoin? And in fact, are they going to outperform Bitcoin significantly, where we see the Bitcoin dominance fall? And Ethereum needs to show us the way. It needs to lead the way for a nice little rally to the upside, so that we can get some confidence that we are potentially in an altcoin season. So we're going to be watching out for all those little indications and those confirmations in the up and coming days. Let's continue going on here. Solana kind of going sideways, still within structure. We have Cardano pulling back. Of course, Cardano did pretty well in the last little while. A little bit of a pullback here is all fine. And as well as AVAX, it's still up overall for the last 7 days, but a small pullback in the last little while. And you can see that the majority of the market is pretty much doing the same thing. We have Matic actually looking a lot more bearish than expected. We have ICP still holding up. It's down 10%, but you can't knock it. It's up significantly. A 10% correction after it's up over 100% in the last while is nothing. So ultimately, still very bullish. This could be a bull flag. This could be an opportunity to enter on a good risk to reward scenario by putting a stop loss right below that consolidation. Guys, let me know if you want me to cover ICP in future videos. Maybe that could be the video for tomorrow. Let's continue going down. We have Uniswap coming down, breaking below structure. I don't like that. It looks like a bit of a Bart Simpson potentially here. So Uniswap definitely coming down. We have OKB coming down. A lot of dips happening, breaking structure for those altcoins. Even IMX, Immutable X, but IMX did very well in the last little while, so a bit of a dip. We have HBAR that definitely broke out and started moving to the upside, and currently we're in a bit of a retracement. Could this be the last confirmation before we continue to the upside on HBAR? Remember that HBAR barely got its moment. A lot of these altcoins barely got their moment. You know what I mean? So ultimately, it could be that we see some of these altcoins that didn't have their moment kind of go sideways and maybe get a nice impulsive move where they start breaking out. Caspa coming down approximately 12.3% in the last 7 days. Caspa is in a retracement phase. I'm going to let it fall, let it keep on coming down, and then we'll consider buying the dip at lower levels. VeChain going sideways as we speak, still within structure, but ultimately up 16% in the last 7 days. So looking pretty good. Near Protocol still within structure, so still okay. We have Stacks running up today, up 16.5%, give or take. Guys, that's bullish given the fact that Bitcoin, all it really did is bounce. All it did is bounce. It came down and all it did is get a little bit of a bounce on the lower time frame. So why is Stacks running up so hard? Guys, I'm not sure, but right now Stacks is on fire. So that's pretty good. 17% to the upside, 34% in the last 7 days. That's bullish, definitely. And as we keep on going down, you can see there's a lot of repetition here. You can see that all this price action is so similar that in fact they're all trying to hold up structure. They don't want to make lower lows, but they're making slightly lower lows across the board. So maybe descending wedges are in effect. Maybe we get a descending wedge for continuation to the upside, and we're also seeing Bonk get a nice retracement down 14%. Don't knock it, but Bonk has been up significantly. It's a $1.1 billion market cap all of a sudden. So what do you expect from Bonk? Really, nothing much at this point. If we keep on going down, we have Beam almost at $1 billion market cap already. A retracement is real, down approximately 5%. We have Token X Exchange, TKX, definitely doing well, grinding to the upside. And as we keep on going, BitGet is looking very hot right now, which means that, you know, we saw KuCoin run up really hard. Now we're seeing BitGet run up really hard. Is that an indication that these exchanges are preparing for a run? It could be very possible that we're getting a lot of market participation on these exchanges, which means that ultimately people are looking to start trading and investing and accumulating. So that's pretty good. Mina Protocol coming down a little bit. We have Gate kind of going sideways, but still looking quite bullish, backing up that narrative or that idea. That's very possible. We have SEI looking like it wants to continue breaking to the upside, up 10%, which is pretty good. Sui coming down a little bit, not really looking the greatest. And Chili's, definitely coming down, breaking lower structure. So ultimately what I'm seeing here, just a general observation, if you look at the market cap right now, really there's not many, we get into really large caps all of a sudden real quick. $1 billion market cap, and we're at already almost at about 66, which means that really we're barely seeing any of those mid caps, those smaller cap altcoins on the first page. We're slow. The total market cap is swelling up just a little bit. So ultimately the market is okay still. We are getting a retracement. Is it something that really is getting me excited to be buying? Absolutely not. I'm not there yet. Couple of more days of this, I might be interested. I want double-digit dips. I want to see some good red days. We're finally getting some thumbnails with open mouths, all scared and fearful about what the market is giving us in the last couple of days. But ultimately, it's not enough. I want to see further continuation. I want to get some confirmations of support, and then I will be deploying some capital. All right, guys. I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. That's Ethereum, but let's begin looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still where it's at, where we left it. Kind of hanging out here. Now the retracement is real, definitely here, pulling back from this level. Guys, I expected this level to give us a bit of a reaction. In fact, front running would have been great, obviously, but you can see that nickeling and diming for every little impulse is so risky. That's a risk in itself. So you always think about risk as getting into too much leverage or buying too much of a token or a coin, or in this case, it's a prime example of holding way too long. If you're bullish, great, awesome, but trail up a stop loss because you never know what's going to happen. Right now here on the daily, honestly, nothing is really happening. We have the bearish divergence. We got the MACD and the RSI in that stance of divergence. Now, do we actually follow through and see this thing come down and roll over and get into this, range once again? We see a beautiful range here. Choppy, definitely going sideways, definitely ascending in this channel, and looking for potential support down here is absolutely healthy. We could come down to about 31K, 31.5K, more or less, and definitely come down, get some support here on this volume gap in the short term. Previous highs definitely here, previous highs right here. So definitely a little bit of a pullback. But what the issue is mostly for me is that what about if we don't hold this diagonal? What about if we don't hold this horizontal? How low could we actually go? The reality is getting down to 25K is also very possible, given the fact that there's not that much supply and demand in this zone to actually hold up. And this would be the most juiciest, the hottest liquidity grab that you would ever expect. A lot of people got into long positions around this zone, given the fact that it was a healthy backtest confirmation on all of this sideways price action, this previous high, and so on. So I can expect, we could expect a test of these lows and definitely get down to about 25K. And I am going to be prepared for that scenario. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to happen, but it's something to consider. Now, I'm also considering this area. Okay, for a reaction, we come down, we get into this level, we get a nice little bounce, corrective move. It could be a dead cat bounce, whatever it is. And after getting so much bearish divergence here, it could be that we just look for a bit of follow through and continue to the downside eventually. And guess what, guys, if that happens, guess what's going to happen to alts? Guess what's happening to Ethereum, and so on and so forth. But really, what I'm really hoping for is that Bitcoin goes sideways in the short term. Let's get into the 4 hour here for a second. You can see that it's still choppy. The 4 hour is still in the chop zone. It's likely wanting to get overbought very soon. You can see that the RSI already got its reset and oversold. It already kind of back testing as we speak. Now, if we actually break to the upside and get overbought, guys, that is really healthy. We will see another impulsive move for Bitcoin and likely to see the rest of the market run up as well. We can get up to about 45K just for another liquidity grab up here for people going short. And then all of a sudden, or people, you know, potentially, we're going short out here at the tops. We get some liquidity out of those guys and we start coming down and we basically roll over at that stage. But I think that ultimately a nice distribution pattern, some sort of consolidation here showing distribution would be healthy, not only for Bitcoin to give us some time to figure out what we got to do, because obviously a backtest on Bitcoin will be healthy, but for the altcoins, guys, a lot of us are invested in altcoins, and some of them have yet to really show us any strength. So let's see what happens in the short term. Ultimately, I'm expecting this to kind of, go choppy for the next little while. All right, guys, let's take a look at ETH. What's going on with ETH? Ultimately, ETH is another one that is taking a bit of a hit. But what I don't like, the majority of it, is the way it's behaving right around the breakout zone. Guys, I hate breakout trading because of this. This is a perfect fake out. You come out, you think it's going to break out, you think it's going to run, it's looking bullish, everything's looking nice and hot, and then all of a sudden, you hit a level, just some random level, and then come right back in, right? So that's liquidity grab 101. That's where people get wrecked. That's where you get the fake outs and all of that. We identified a bearish divergence here. So, there was some level of, caution that should have been taken here. But the worst part is that we're back within the range. We're back within the structure, which means that ultimately we can come right back down to the bottom of the structure. When we at the bottom of the structure, we have the point of control here. That's very, very, very close by. We have this volume gap that's very close by. And obviously, it would be very confluent to come down to this level, get a bit of support, show us some bullish divergence, and then all of a sudden get that bounce to continue to the upside. Or the bears could be right and start looking at this as a bear flag, where we see ETH continue to the downside and get to much lower levels. Guys, whatever happens here, up, down, bearish or bullish, we need to stay one step ahead here. Right now, the way Ethereum looks, given the momentum, let's look at this RSI for a second, came from overbought, bearish divergence, follow through, and definitely coming down. It's very likely that we can see Ethereum get oversold in the short term, right? Eventually coming down to this level. Okay, so if that were to be the case, we see the Ethereum price potentially come back down to that range lows. And look at the MACD, EMA is facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, giving us no real signal that the bears are done pushing down. In fact, it's probably very likely that they just got started. Okay, so any short-term pullbacks to the upside, guys, start de-risking. Take a bit off the top, because those are second opportunities to de-risk on your portfolios. Okay, so think about what's happening here, right? If we come back into this channel and start getting to the bottom of the range and we start breaking down, it's not looking good for Ethereum and especially the altcoins. Okay, so overbought here, getting to oversold. That's what we got to look forward to and prepare for. So back to the 4 hour, you can see we're very choppy here, and it's likely that Ethereum, definitely goes sideways here as well. Right, we can see that we got the bearish divergence, but we already got somewhat oversold. We're already in oversold scenarios. So what about if we hang out here just a little bit more? Maybe even get as low as about 2,400, $40, something like that. And then we start seeing the MACD EMA cross, start getting a green histogram bar, and we start seeing the RSI get back to overbought conditions, and maybe that would be the level. Now, what I really want to see is the weekly, because the weekly has yet to get overbought. We've seen so many altcoins already get in extreme overbought conditions, and Ethereum has yet to get there, which means eventually the likelihood is that it should get there. And when Ethereum gets to that level, altcoins will explode. And we've already seen a great, healthy altcoin run already, especially on some of those micro caps that ran up already, and they're all of a sudden mid caps, large caps. So the reality is, what we're looking for is ultimately to see the Ethereum price get overbought. Does that mean in the short term we could come down? Very possible. And that's why I'm looking at a first scenarios, how we react at the bottom of this volume gap. Hopefully we can hold up. And then if we don't, what I'm really concerned about is coming again back down to the diagonal and holding this level right here at about 15. That for me ultimately is the zone. The diagonal, the 200 EMA on the weekly is possibly a really good confluent zone for it to protect this diagonal. So ultimately coming down is very possible, picking up some more bullish bids. Let's watch out for the 200 and the 50 EMA. Right now we're crossing bullish, which is really nice, and ultimately maybe get a back test off of here. Now, what do we look at when we look at this? It's very possible that we get some sort of cup and handle, right? We get a little bit of a bottom. It's not nicely rounded, but it's there. The sentiment is there. We got down to this level. We come up, we retrace a little bit. Let's not retrace too deep. Let's hopefully we get some support here. No more than 50% retracement. Basically 0.5 Fibonacci from swing low to swing high, come right around this zone, consolidate a little bit, and then all of a sudden rocket to the top. That's very possible, especially with the fact, again, that Ethereum is one of those altcoins, of course, the altcoin that didn't really do anything. Didn't really do anything in comparison to some of the others. So let's see if we can catch up to Bitcoin a little bit and grab some of that liquidity, get some more interest in there. And my target for me, where I start looking at, de-risking, is at about 3K. $2,966 more or less is where I'm interested to see if the Ethereum price go with another impulse to the upside after breaking out of this area. Guys, that's what I got for you today. If I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a huge favor and slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. It helps getting these videos out and all that good stuff. And of course, guys, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setup fundamentals, and learning materials. See you tonight, guys. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.